myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. I sadly mistaken, I need a piece of the pie. I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take a few to lose. Built the win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I built the win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And today is the Week 13 recap this week in college football. So we're going to talk about some college football now. Side note, I do know there's a game at 4:30. It's UMass versus Bowling Green. I am not talking about that game. Whatever happens in that game is whatever happens. If UMass gets his only win of the season, congratulations. They go defeated like Kent State last year. I'm sorry to hear that. It is what it is. But we got to talk about what happened in the SEC bye week of Week 13. But before we do that, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, helps the network. It helps my channel, CTC, by the way, the Refuse to Lose Network. Now, like I said, this is a network, so we do have multiple shows. We have the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave every Tuesday and Friday, 7 to about 8:30. So make sure y'all tune in today because they will be live. We got Unfazed Tuesdays, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, featuring Joe and AJ. So make sure y'all tune into them. Should be very interesting after what happened in football this Sunday. Next, got BWT Baseball with Teddy. We did have a trade. I'm pretty sure Teddy's going to talk about it. I'm not going to say what happened, who was traded, none of that. That's for Teddy to tell you. So make sure y'all look out for Teddy to talk about that. We got FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs, who is not doing the show. Shout out. Happy birthday to your daughter. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully all goes well. He'll be back next week. So make sure y'all look out for him next week. It's a fantasy football show. We got Indie Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo boxing episode. They just went live this past Sunday because there was an event this weekend. So make sure y'all listen to that to get y'all a recap for that. The boxing episodes. And we got RBO Real Ballers Only NBA show featuring Vaughn. And we have Dave's Doghouse highlights and lowlights of sport. So that's all the shows we have on the network. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, on my recap show, you know we start off with the upsets of Week 13. And the first upset we got to talk about is Illinois getting upset against Wisconsin, 27-10, in a very defensive game for the Wisconsin Badgers. The defense yet again showed out in Camp Randall, absolutely had a day. They got a pick on Luke Altmaier. Should have had a fumble. They had a strip sack, but that was Wisconsin. That Illinois was able to jump back on. But man, they just had a day. Wisconsin had a day defensively. The run game, especially Darion Dupree, broke multiple runs in the third quarter, one being an 80-plus yard touchdown run in the third quarter. He had a day for sure, and they were just able to smother the Illinois offense. Illinois just struggled, which, I mean, the season in terms of playoffs and Big Ten was kind of over for Illinois, but you still want to win. You want a better bowl. And this is just a great win for the Wisconsin Badgers. Like I said, man, took a bad sack. Illinois took a bad sack in the first quarter. Kind of possibly took them out of field goal range. It was just a great day for the Wisconsin defense. And to top it all off, Illinois had 3 straight turnover on downs in the fourth quarter, which cost them this game as well. Well, it cost them had a chance of coming back in this game because the game looked like it was well at hand once Dupree broke those long runs. It was just back-breaking after back-breaking. Every touchdown felt like a 28-point play. It was just like a dagger getting shoved in, and it was bad. But Wisconsin now with back-to-back ranked wins, great wins at that too, at home So kudos to them. They finished the season out against Minnesota next week, so should be an interesting game. We'll move on to another upset after the comments. Appreciate you. What's up, man? Nice to see you here. And then we got another one. How you doing, man? First chat, yes, sir. First time seeing you. Hopefully you enjoy the show. College football, college basketball show. I appreciate you for tuning in. The next upset we got. This one hurt my heart, man. It did, because I'm not a Georgia Tech fan, but I'm a Coach Key fan. And because of that, appreciate you. I see you in the comments. You liked and subscribed. I definitely appreciate that, man. I definitely do, because you didn't have to do it. So I do appreciate that. But Georgia Tech on senior night had a chance to make the ACC championship. The last time I remember Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game was with Justin Thomas at quarterback. Justin Thomas, I think they had Golden at cornerback. I want to say DeAndre Smelter and Darren Waller both were on that team for Georgia Tech, which they lost. They got boat raced by Jameis and Florida State. So, but man, with a chance to go back, you get dominated. I'm not letting the score, change that. You got dominated. You came out sluggish, slow. And I just feel like of all circumstances, this will be the one where you don't. Like I said, senior night, at home, with a chance to make the ACC championship and the college football playoffs, because both of those are now smoked. And you do this, you come out and you allow Pitt to score 28 points on 4 straight drives. You get a stop. But after that, you give up 4 straight touchdowns. And not only that, it's 28-14 at half. You get a stop to start the second half, and then Haynes King throws a 99-yard pick six. It was just unbelievable to me. Like, I was so flabbergasted, to the point where Georgia Tech brought it to win a 1 touchdown at 35-28. I had no hope they was going to get the stop. And sure enough, the freshman Turner broke a 60-something yard touchdown run and definitely broke the backs of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So it was tough to see. Mason Heichel had a good game for sure. Definitely a good game for Mason Heichel, the other freshman. This was a big win, but I said it in my preview. I don't trust the Georgia Tech defense, which I will say, after giving up 4 straight touchdowns, they did not give up anything until the last drive where he broke that touchdown. So I will say they definitely stepped up in that second half, and that 99-yard pick six definitely was the backbreaker to me that basically gave me no hope for Georgia Tech. If they would have scored a touchdown on that drive and made that a 1-possession game there, I think the game ends differently. But for Georgia Tech, you can still salvage the season. You got a rivalry neutral site game against Georgia to make it a 10-win season before the bowl. You could possibly get a 10-win season with the bowl if you lose to Georgia, but you can play a little. I don't think Georgia gets knocked out of the college football playoffs if Georgia Tech beats them, but you play a little bit of spoiler because they won't make the SEC championship. No, that don't matter. Excuse me, I apologize. That don't matter. But you can play a little bit of a spoiler. Maybe they drop in rankings. Who knows? But yeah, just a terrible game for Georgia Tech all around. And the last upset I have to talk about, TCU upsets Houston 17-14 on the road. Houston, this whole game was just full. Y'all remember the game yesterday, Monday Night Football, 49ers Panthers? This was the collegiate version of that. It was just picks everywhere, fumbles everywhere. Oh my God, Josh Hoover, man. I think he's immensely talented, but it's something about a quarterback named Josh and interceptions. He goes up 14-0, and then he just starts throwing picks again. Connor Wegman with a chance to tie it, 4th and goal. He throws a pick, trying to force a ball to Tanner Koziel. Then after that pick, was it Jordan Bailey fumbles and field goal range for TCU. It was just a game full of mistakes. Then Houston down 17-14 misses a field goal attempt early, I believe late in the third, early fourth. And then with 40 seconds, no timeouts, chance to tie, Houston misses another field goal and TCU takes over and leads the game out. It's just so many mistakes in this ball game from both teams. I think Houston committed more mistakes, which is why Houston lost. But, man, this was tough for Willie Fritz and them to lose like this. Still having a great season, but this was a tough one. This was a tough one for sure. And that's all the upsets I have for y'all today. We're going to move on to the notable games of Week 13, and we got to start with a ranked-on-ranked matchup. Oklahoma just dominates Mizzou defensively as they win 16-7, a low-scoring SEC NFL-esque type ball game, in which it felt like the game was over to me when Oklahoma hit that 87-yard touchdown pass to Isaiah Sentenga. Once he got that big play, I thought the game was over only because Oklahoma defense had Mizzou in a chokehold. And I personally feel like Bo Perbula rushed back. For what reason, I don't know. But I feel like he rushed back, and I feel like there was times, to me, it looked like you could tell he rushed back. But also, this Oklahoma defense is elite. It is very elite. I will say Ahmad Hardy showed why he's one of the best backs in the country and why he's a Doak Walker finalist. Shout out Dave for that information. I do feel like he had a great day. He was also tough to stop. Oklahoma had some wins, but I think Ahmad Hardy overall won the day in terms of his production. Had a great day. But once Oklahoma scored those 2 touchdowns to put them up 14-3, it just seemed like it was over. 11-point lead against Oklahoma feels like a 30-point lead for Oklahoma. And then they scored a field goal before the half, but ultimately Oklahoma shuts out Mizzou in the second half to win 17-6. So great win for Oklahoma to remain alive for the college football playoffs. If you're a Miami fan, I know you were rooting for Mizzou. Has to suck that Mizzou held Oklahoma offense in check the entire time, but one big play for 87 yards just basically rear-ended a chance of sneaking in the playoffs so far. But if you're Oklahoma, like I said, great win. Nonetheless, I got some comments. Week 13 was smooth. It was a smooth week. BYU did their thing. BYU did their thing for sure, like they always going to do. I don't know if I say smooth. I went 5-3 Saturday. The mistakes be costly. They definitely do. Another notable game I wanted to bring up: Minnesota Northwestern at Wrigley Field as Northwestern becomes bowl eligible. This was actually a really good game. I thought it'd be a good game, but I didn't think it'd be as offensive as it was. I thought it'd be way more low scoring than it actually was. Northwestern beats Minnesota 38-35. Northwestern, they looked like they was about to boat race Minnesota at first. No pun intended, because rode the boat for Minnesota, but that was no pun intended. They go up 10-0 early, but Coy Parrish has a huge kickoff return, and he basically put Minnesota in striking distance. I thought he was going to score, but I guess he ran out of gas. But on 4th and goal, Darius Taylor scores a touchdown for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And it seemed like that woke Minnesota up as they proceeded to score 2 straight touchdowns after that, going up, 21-13 at half. Then Minnesota gets the ball. Northwestern gets a big stop coming out of half, but they muff the punt. And Minnesota gets said muff punt and goes and punches it in to go up 28-13. And I'm not going to lie, as a guy who picked Northwestern to win, when that happened, I thought it was over for Northwestern. I was like, Northwestern's offense became anemic. Minnesota has picked it up just a ton on offense. And that just felt like one of them things where we finally getting back on track and we lose it. But Northwestern proceeds to score on 4 straight drives. They scored 3 straight touchdowns and kicked the game-winning field goal at 35-35 to win it. They turned it around offensively. Preston Stone had a day. He definitely had a half. I think he only missed like 1 pass in the second half, which was like a throwaway or something like that. He balled in the second half, which led to the comeback. Now, I will say Caleb Kumalafe definitely had a day on the ground for the Northwestern Wildcats. And I also want to give a shout out to Drake May, who had a day for the Minnesota Gophers through the air, 4 touchdowns. But when the rubber needed to meet the road, Preston Stone and that Northwestern offense got the job done, and they went on to win the game to become bowl eligible. So big win for Northwestern there. Another notable game we got to talk about. I went with the upset in USC Oregon, and Oregon told me to shut up. So USC, they came out and struck first, 7-0. Oregon came right back down and answered immediately. Boom. And USC couldn't score. Oregon goes up 14-7. It feels like Oregon scored on every drive now. Now, that's not the case. They're not scoring every drive because, beyond that, Dante Moore did throw a pick. But it felt like they scored on every drive. But, Jada Maeva threw 2 picks. They lost the turnover battle there with that. They gave up a punt return. That was huge there. And it felt like every time USC did something, Oregon responded. Oregon threw a pick. USC, they got one right back. USC threw one right back. USC scored a touchdown. Oregon would answer right back. USC cut it to 7. Oregon put that joint right back up to 14. It just seemed like every time USC had an answer, Oregon responded with an answer. And it was a big W for Oregon as they stay alive in the Big Ten championship title hopes. That may or may not have knocked Oregon out the playoffs. I don't know how the committee would have took that loss if Oregon would have lost, but we don't got to worry about it right now because Oregon won. USC is eliminated, to me, in my opinion, from playoff contention and the Big Ten title game. Well, that's the Big Ten title game is a fact, but I'm pretty sure they're eliminated from playoff contention now with that loss as they take on UCLA next week. Oregon has a big matchup against Washington. They have to win this game to stay alive for a college football playoff opportunity, not playoffs, for a Big Ten championship opportunity. They would need some help. Ohio State will have to lose. If Indiana lose, it don't matter what they do. Indiana has the head-to-head. If Ohio State lose, I would love to see how that ends up with Michigan being one loss, Ohio State being one loss, and Oregon being one loss if they beat Washington. So I would love to see how that works out because all three of them, Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon, would have beaten Washington. So I don't know how that works out. But big win for Oregon. And we move on to the final notable game, which is what my brother mentioned in the comments. BYU, 11th ranked BYU beat Cincy on the road 26-14. Now, in my opinion, BYU's defense, again, just came to play. But I will say I was surprised. Cincinnati's defense came to play as well. They played a phenomenal game defensively. Normally, the Bearcats defense we see, they're giving up points, giving up big plays left and right. Now, LJ Martin had a day. Don't get me wrong. But they did a good job keeping BYU out of scoring range, keeping them from scoring a ton of points. As a matter of fact, their halftime score was 10-3. So I think Cincy's defense did a heck of a job. The offense just couldn't get the job done for the Cincinnati Bearcats. But that was also due in part to Brendan Sorsby coming out in the second half, throwing 2 picks, especially throwing a pick, I believe he threw a pick the first drive of the second half. Yeah, the first drive of the second half, Brendan Sorsby threw a pick, which led to a BYU touchdown, and that pretty much put the game kind of out of reach. It was a lot of game, like I want to say Cincy got like a penalty to help them late in the game or something like that. But man, it was a good game, very defensive. But BYU edged it out with the run game with LJ Martin and the defense of the Cougars. 2 interceptions is nothing to sneeze at for the Cougars. So big win for them to stay alive in the college football playoff hopes. They play. I forgot who BYU play. Is it Houston? I believe BYU plays Houston next week, and if BYU wins, I believe they play Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. I believe Texas Tech has already punched their ticket in. They have one loss, which is Arizona State, but I believe they have tiebreakers enough to where if they lose to West Virginia, which I don't see, they will be in the Big 12 title game. But we'll see. Now, we move on to games to mention. These are games that I'm going to just talk about real quick. I'm going to try to run through this because there's a lot of good college basketball going on right now, and I can't lie. I can't wait to get back to it. Syracuse and Houston is playing right now. Is Syracuse back? We don't know. Anyway, games to mention. Miami of Ohio beats Buffalo 37-20. Now, I did pick Buffalo to win this game. What I didn't think was going to happen was Henry Henson was going to get sat after a drive or two. They immediately sat Henry Henson down and said, no, I don't care that you're a senior. This is your last year with us. We trying to make this bowl game. You are not helping us do that. They sat him down for the freshman, and he came in and balled. He gave him an added dimension with his legs. He balled. He made some tough throws. He was pretty accurate. He had some moxie with him. He just had a good game as they beat Buffalo. Buffalo, again, I believe, had some Buffalo, again, with the interceptions, turnovers. Miami defense is definitely forcing some turnovers. Great win for Miami to stay alive for a chance at the MAC championship. Next, we have Hawaii, absolutely dominated by UNLV. On the road, 38-10. And it's like I said, man, Hawaii at home would never bet against them again. UNLV, though, was at home, and Hawaii on the road is just different. So UNLV just straight dominated them. Was airing the ball out, doing whatever they wanted. It was just a blowout of a game. Utah comes back down 12, sparked by a pick 2 return the other way. 51-47 against Kansas State. Despite Joe Jackson having a phenomenal day, he is on major performances. They came back and scored 2 straight touchdowns, including a big Devin Dampier run late in the game to take the lead. He didn't score, but he set him up to take the lead. Utah definitely avoided elimination of the college football playoffs. But if you are a Miami fan, I put this in the chat when it was happening. I know Miami fans was rooting like a mother for Utah to lose because that would have been big. Somebody in front of them taking an L to hopefully help them get into the dance. But Utah was able to avoid that. Mo State throws a pick six late. Well, throws a pick six, but I turned away from it when he threw the pick six. The final score doesn't show the pick six, so there must have been some type of flag on it. But they beat Kennesaw State. Lose to Kennesaw State 41-34. Keeping Kennesaw State's hopes alive for a Conference USA title. Like Amari Odom had a heck of a day. He's on major performances, but he had a heck of a day. Heck of a day. He definitely turned it around from the week prior against Jack State. Jack State, speaking of, loses to FIU on the road. Terrible second half for Jack State. FIU, I believe, shuts them out in the second half to win 27-21. Big win for FIU to remain bowl eligible, but a big loss for Jack State because now they don't have the control that they once had of making the Conference USA title. With the win, they could have lost last week. It wouldn't have mattered. They would have been in. But now they have to win next week to have a chance at a Conference USA title unless Kennesaw State loses next week. So they don't fully control their destiny like they once would have. They do with a win, but with a loss, it's need help. Southern Miss loses on the road to South Alabama 35-42, which makes Southern Miss versus Troy the battle to play JMU in the Sun Belt title. Southern Miss absolutely was blowing them out the entirety of the game. Southern Miss just made a push late to tie it, and the push was denied. And Utah State upsets Fresno State on the road. They hold Fresno State to 3 points in the second half, if not shut them out. I can't remember. But Bryson Barnes had a big game, yardage-wise, for Utah State to win the ball game as Bronco Mendenhall has the Aggies bowl eligible. A couple years, I believe literally a couple years. Yeah, 2 years after the whole Blake Anderson scenario at Utah State. But those are the games I got to mention, and let's talk about major performances before we sign out. Again, I will not be talking about the UMass Bowling Green game that is about to kick off in probably now, if not the next 5-10 minutes. It's not a game I want to talk about. And I decided I'm not going to talk about one game tonight. I'm not going to talk about Eastern Michigan versus Western Michigan. I mean, there's no bowl implications there. There's Western Michigan. If they win, they make the MAC championship. There's that. But other than that, that's it. So I left it alone. But we'll go to major performances. Oops, hold on. I got to take the other banner off real quick. I have 26 names in major performances today. So the first name we got, Jalen Buckley. See you, Bengaloo. Jordan Brunson, running back, Miami of Ohio, 16 carries, 123 yards. Corey Rucker, receiver, Arkansas State, 8 catches, 120 yards. Bo Jackson, running back, Ohio State, 19 carries, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tanook Hines, wide receiver, USC, 6 catches, 141 yards, and a touchdown. Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame. It's no way it was 8. Hold on. I might have forgot a one. I got to double check this. I have 8 carries for 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's no way that's right. I think that's supposed to be 18, and I forgot the one. So let me just go ahead, double check that real quick before I lie to y'all, because that's insane if he had 8 carries. I want to say it was 18. Come on, bro. I just want to make sure that's right real quickly. As I do that, let's see here. Boom, week 13. We go down to Notre Dame because, man, ain't no way. I'm sorry. He had 8 carries, 171 yards. So my bad. Yes, that's insane. Next, LJ Martin, 32 carries, 222 yards, and 2 touchdowns, running back from BYU. Joe Jackson, running back, Kansas State, 24 carries, 293 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Malachi Tony, wide receiver, Miami University, the Hurricanes, 12 catches, 146 yards, and a touchdown. Carson Beck, quarterback, Miami University, 27-32, 320 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Diego Pavia, quarterback, Vanderbilt, 33 of 39, 484 yards, 5 touchdowns, a pick, 15 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown. Trey Richardson, receiver, Vanderbilt, 6 catches, 159 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Jakarian Turner, pick, running back, 21 carries, 201 yards, and a touchdown. Bryson Hutzall, running back, Michigan, 20 carries, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Raleek Brown, running back, Arizona State, 22 carries, 255 yards, and a touchdown. Caleb Kumalafe, running back, Northwestern, 22 carries, 129 yards, and a touchdown. Carson Hansen, running back, Iowa State, 22 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Hudson, receiver, Arizona, 9 catches, 133 yards, and a touchdown. Shamari Lawrence, running back, Missouri State, 20 carries, 173 yards, and a touchdown. Amari Odom, quarterback, Kennesaw State. He went 24 of 34, 387 yards, 5 touchdowns with 32 rushing yards, and another rushing touchdown. So 6 total touchdowns on the day for Amari Odom. But then we got Gabriel Benyard, receiver, Kennesaw State, 7 catches, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Cam Cook, running back, Jack State, 25 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. Keon Owens, running back, FIU, 21 carries, 135 yards, and a touchdown. Michael Ford, running back, Stanford, 29 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdown. Will Henderson, running back, UTSA, 19 carries, 146 yards, and a touchdown. Not a touchdown. Owen McCown, quarterback, UTSA, 24 of 33, 248 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And Anthony Smith, receiver, ECU, 8 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown. That is the end of this week in college football, week 13, as we move on to the finale that starts right now. Like I said, I'm not talking about today's games, though, however. I will be back Thursday to talk about Memphis versus Navy and all the games we got on Black Friday. I have 7 games for Friday to talk about, plus the Thanksgiving game. So 8 games total. And then we'll finish it off Saturday with our Saturday games. We will add a new segment. We'll be adding the Bowl Watch games, where I list off games where teams are potentially playing games for a potential bowl appearance. I'll probably, if I don't talk about that game in depth, but they have a bowl appearance on the line, I'll pick a winner and just briefly say why. But I'm not going to talk about it in depth. And it won't go towards my pick or anything, but it is that season. It is the last week of the regular season before conference championship week starts next week. So can't wait for that. Y'all enjoy y'all Tuesday. Y'all enjoy y'all college basketball. If you can watch, I know I will. Michigan State won by 30 plus today. Cohen Carr had a little injury scare, but we are good. It's definitely lit. I can't wait for bowl season. I hope more people decide to play in bowls and not tip bowls, but we'll see. But yeah, that's all I have for y'all. Y'all enjoyed the main show that comes on in about 2.5 hours. Excited to see what they talk about, but I'm gone. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.